This is Jen Snyder Gibson, and we're coming to you live from the Brand Builder Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina with the Breakfast Club Beat. If you have ever spent any time in Charlotte, I am sure that you are very, very aware of Adams Outdoor Advertising and all of their incredible static and digital billboards that are throughout our entire community. And today, I am so lucky to have Miss Julie Johnson, General Manager, and my dear, dear friend, Gail Bunnell, Vice President of Business Development, with us today. And just a side note, Gail and I have been friends for probably 25 years, and not until like 30 seconds ago, I knew what her title was. I was like, I probably should ask you, what is your exact title at Adams? So, Vice President of Business Development, I just learned today. So, welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Jen.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Well, why don't we start a little bit with what Adams actually is,
Yes.
right? So we're a media company. We are in 9 states. We have about 12,000 billboards. And we are, I would say, the dominant out-of-home player in the Carolinas, and especially in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Triad. We're the 4th largest privately owned billboard company in the United States. And we are in a growth and acquisition mode. So it's a great time to be a part of our company.
How long have you been with Adams?
Yeah, a long time. Decades.
A long decades.
Yeah, I am. I've been in the industry for 38 years.
And what was it about the billboard industry that drew you with such passion into it?
Well, it's a really powerful medium. And I don't know that I really thought it in those terms when I was 24 years old when I started. But I saw billboards and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool and interesting to be able to be, and have my hand in creative and work with advertisers. And I love this business, and I fell in love with it even before I started in it when I was interviewing with Adams 38 years ago. And when I would ride down I-77 and I saw a blank billboard and I thought, oh, how wonderful would it be to work with an advertiser and put an ad up there and have my hands in that. So that's really how I fell in love with the business. It's a simple business. It's become more complex in the last, I would say, probably 15 years. But overall, the essence of who we are as a business and the industry is foundationally still the same.
And anyone that knows you or has had the privilege of spending any time with you knows your passion just ekes from your pores in everything that you do. And you come up with such creative ideas for your clients in ways to share their messaging in our community. Julie, welcome to Charlotte.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, so tell everyone a little bit about your background with Adams and how long you have been in our market now.
Yeah, so I've been with Adams Outdoor almost 17 years.
Wow.
And the majority of those 17 years has been in the Midwest in Madison, Wisconsin. So I am a new Charlotte import. Love the city, by the way. The food is amazing. The people are amazing.
Such a great food city, right?
Yes, it really, really is. And I love the big city feel of it. I've been here about 12 months now as the general manager of the Charlotte branch. And yeah, just like loving it.
That's awesome. Tell me, what was it for you that drew you into this career in the billboard space?
Well, for me, I sort of like stumbled into it a little bit. I was always a media geek, but really on the TV side of it. I thought it was cool, worked at a TV station, did all of that fun stuff. And somebody enticed me to try billboards. And I'm like, billboards? What? You gotta be kidding me. And really similar to Gail, within like 12 months, I just fell in love with the creativity, the simpleness of it, the effectiveness of it. And I never really saw myself in this industry, but now 17 years later, I'm such a cheerleader. And it's in a growth mode, which is also amazing. And it's a really unique, cool industry.
I think that's a really interesting point about being in growth mode, because when you think about media in general, outdoor advertising is really the oldest medium that there is, right? So unlike some traditional media that has fallen to the wayside because consumer habits have changed, outdoor is one of those mediums that has continued to grow despite the fact that we're really an old medium, right? Probably couple 200-300 years old. And that's really interesting because our lifestyles have actually helped to fuel the outdoor advertising industry because we spend so much time out of home, in our cars, moving around marketplaces. So that has really helped to fuel the growth of the outdoor advertising industry.
And not only that, I think it's really difficult for advertisers and clients to reach that 18 to 40-year-old. They're sometimes called the unreachable. And they're on their devices, they're on their desktops, whatever it might be, but they're also driving around or walking around. So outdoor advertising is like the perfect spot to reach that unreachable demo that I think a lot of broadcast and traditional media have started to lack.
I remember when I first moved to Charlotte back in the late 90s, I was working in the radio world. And you started to see the digital side come into play. And just slowly you started to see the changes. And then, you know, one by one, local shows were not there anymore. And we were going, you know, national and in all the markets and the digital side. When was it in the outdoor space that digital billboards came into play? And how did that change the industry?
So in 2007, we deployed 18 digital billboards in this marketplace. And digital billboards at that point in 2007 was really the year in most markets that companies started investing in digital technology. And it has continued to grow. And, you know, there's two parts to digital, right? There's the digital part of the billboard, but then there's also digital media that is online media. And the two marry beautifully together. They work together. Advertisers lean into that so that you're reaching a one-to-one conversation with digital media, your mobile phone, your mobile device, and ads that are being served up, and then the masses through out-of-home media. And we're the one last standing mass medium. And that is really saying something in this very fragmented world where you can put messages out there that can reach, you know, a massive amount of people on a daily basis.
Sure. I think also with the digital billboards too, you have such an opportunity when something happens in your community. You're immediately able to pivot and get something out, get a message out if you need to, that you can do right away for people to be able to see and learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the massive advantages, too, that we work with local governments, local police departments, fire departments. Whenever something happens, we're one of the first to call and say, how do we help? How do we get this message out? And I honestly think we've only tipped the iceberg on our capabilities in terms of helping within the communities, whether that be Amber Alerts, weather alerts. We want to be a part of that and do more of that, so we're one with the community and seen in a very positive light versus a negative light.
Well, I just as you said that, I was thinking back to COVID and what you guys were able to do with Atrium and so many different types of messages that you were able to get out and things that were needed, whether it was up at the Speedway and their campaign they were doing there, or, you know, something here locally.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So, and Atrium's a wonderful client of ours. They have been with us for several decades, maybe even 30 plus years. And when COVID happened, they really leaned into messaging in the marketplace. And
Yes.
instead of pulling back like many advertisers were doing, they did the exact opposite and said, what kind of messages can we put out there that's for the good of the community? And they absolutely did that. We also did a campaign, #WorthIt, that we were able to really get people in the community to participate in why they were sheltering in place. With a #WorthIt, we turned it into a social media campaign. So, you know,
And I remember that was fantastic.
Yeah, and we've got such beautiful, just beautiful images that we put up on billboards of people throughout the marketplace, and they were, you know, talking about the loved ones and why they were #WorthIt to shelter in place and stay home.
When I think about just driving down the highway anywhere in the good old US of A and you see so many different names on billboards of billboard companies, and even in the Carolinas, there's a few others as well. What is it that comes to your mind, Julie, that sets Adams apart from everyone else?
Our creative team is amazing, but of course I'm biased.
I would say your creative team is amazing
Well,
too.
thank
They
you.
are
Thank you.
insane to work with. Yes.
They're just, I think it's so difficult to do a message that elicits some kind of emotion in somebody when they either have 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to see that and feel something and then act. And really the most amazing pieces that are most memorable to me do that. Whether it be fear or joy or excitement or sadness, whatever it might be, those are literally the best campaigns. So I think our creative is extremely above average. The second one is culture. We, especially the plants that I am in, the people to me are so very important. Happy people going to work will do great work. And that is everything, because in so many times we're spending the majority of our lives at work, and it's hard to get that work-life balance. But if you really enjoy what you're putting out into the universe and stand behind it, I think that that's amazing and resonates.
I think what sets us apart too, and it's certainly creative and people culture, there's also a high value placed on really thinking for yourself, right? Having ideas, bringing those ideas to life. We're not an organization that tells people what to do. We're an organization that really, it's required that you bring your best ideas to the table and then act upon them. And that's not typical in a lot of organizations, this day and time. So that's what has kept me there. Is there's a high level placed on personal responsibility for who we are in the community, who we are with our clients and advertisers, who we are internally as an organization.
I would also give a personal plug to your creative team, because you hit on something when you were talking about creative, and you said you've got 3 to 5 seconds to grab someone's attention. And we've had the privilege to work with your creative team for, over 10 years. We've been doing a campaign with you guys every year. And they nail it every year. And Gail and I will get on these calls and we'll start the brainstorming, and they're feverishly writing all kinds of notes, and they come back with a presentation, and Gail and I are like, how did this get better than the year before? Like every year they bring us such good stuff that I wish I had a bigger budget to be able to do all of the ideas they bring back, because it's really, really great stuff. They're amazing.
I mean, we really do almost function as an ad agency when it comes to the story and the strategy and how we're putting their message out there. And I think sometimes it's hard to convince an advertiser to go for it and step outside of their normal boundaries of how they want to talk about themselves. But we do, that's the other renegade piece too, is that we push, right? And they may not say yes, but at least we recommended it and kind of showed them a really cool path.
And I bet if they do say yes, you get really great feedback from those people on what they're hearing from their clients and potential prospects as well.
For sure.
Well, it really points to a high level of collaboration, which is another thing I love about the company, is that we collaborate with our advertisers and to come up with these great campaigns. Even if they don't choose or select creative that we've done, I think that it sets us apart from other outdoor companies, and that we really put a lot of energy and effort into that, so that there's a higher level of trust and collaboration that's always there. Being with Adams for as long as I have, we are still doing business with people we were doing business with 40 years ago.
Think about that, ladies. That is such a great testimony to the quality of work that you do and the trust that people place in you, Gail, for 30 years of working with you.
Yeah, well, I'm surrounded by a lot of really great people, for sure.
I know Gail's always going to push it off on someone else, but Julie and I, we know. Gail's
know.
getting it done, for sure.
She's an icon.
Yes, she most certainly is. Here's one of the things I love about Adams. I love how consistently every year you guys are really helping the nonprofit world. And I would love for you to share a little bit about that space and maybe some of the favorite things that you've worked on over some several years as well.
Yeah, we're expected to be a part in the fiber of the community. And one way we do that is through supporting important nonprofits. There's a lot of them, and we can't help everybody, but Just to name one in particular, we have really put our arms around Dress for Success for really with the last 5 years with Your Hour, Her Power, which is a campaign that takes place every March. It features 31 different women, a woman a day, who is sort of the pseudo fundraiser for the day. And we put her up on billboards all over the metro area. And she uses the outdoor as a platform for her to tell her story about why she supports Dress for Success. What they do is they help empower women with job training, job placement, the appropriate work attire, preparing themselves to go to the workforce, and really help lift women out of poverty. That's sort of the foundation of what Dress for Success does. So with this Your Hour, Her Power campaign, we have helped them raise $950,000
Yes,
in a 5-year period of time by that 1 month campaign that we run for them in March. And we help them with the creative and the execution. They do a very nice job as far as setting it up and making sure we're prepared on our end for what we need for it. But that's just a small little. That's just one that we support, and it's not small. It's actually really big. But you can quantify how you're helping an organization, especially with dollars, to be able to say, we've raised $950,000. That feels really wonderful.
Absolutely. I remember when you started having the initial conversations with Dress for Success to kind of brainstorm on what Adams could do to be a part of this. And it was incredible. I don't think any of us realized the impact that these Billboard campaigns were going to have 5 years later, and like you said, just under $1 million.
Well, I'll point back to creative. So you've got the space, right? And the space is so powerful because it's out there 24/7. You can't turn it off. It's a high reach, medium. And then you have the intellectual properties that go on those billboards. And what I'd like to think is that we're an organization that places a high value on great intellectual properties to be able to come up with these ideas in the first place. So generally when we sit down with a client, whether it's an advertiser that's buying billboard space from us or even a nonprofit that they don't necessarily have skin in the game, that we're coming up with ideas that help move the needle for something. More people coming in their restaurants, more people getting bank accounts, more people buying that CD, more people buying a home, more people donating money. So, we're in a very leveraged position with these ideas to help make the economy go in this market. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in a really fun business.
Yes.
We're so lucky.
Yeah. And not only will we continue to do those partnerships that the Charlotte market has been doing for a long time, we're going to expand on that. And we've already started in 2025. It's called the AOA Collaborate Program, and we take on 4 local, mind you, area nonprofits and build a branding campaign for each of them that our team produces and puts out there. And it's a year to 18-month campaign where they will go up on our unsold space. And the results that these nonprofits get from this campaign are crazy. And it makes my heart so happy because I would much rather have our unsold space go to these local nonprofits than some of these like national pieces of organizations that we don't really have any attachment to. And we're going to do it again in 2026 in the year after.
Wonderful.
And sort of diversify those categories to kind of make sure we're touching multiple.
And just a shout out to this, Jamie Kimball Foundation is one that is a collaborative partner this year. We've always supported Jamie Kimball Foundation.
Fantastic.
But Julie liked what they were doing and said, let's really amplify their message out in the marketplace. And the other is community and schools.
Oh, wonderful.
So those are 2 of the...
Yes, and then we just decided also our last 2 are going to be the Housing Collaborative, and the other one is the Catawba Riverkeeper.
Oh, that's
so again, like
wonderful.
multiple different categories, and
Yes.
these groups just don't have a lot of marketing money. You know, it's very, very minimal. So for us to step in and donate, close to $1 million in value advertising campaign is just really exciting.
It can turn their budgets around depending on what comes from that.
100%.
That's absolutely fascinating. As long as you have both been in the industry, do you each have a favorite campaign that you've worked on over the years? And for you, it doesn't have to be in Charlotte. It can be somewhere else.
Anything. There's so many, so it's hard to pick, I would say. But the one that truly will always stand out in my mind was a collaboration that we did with the University of Wisconsin, the athletic department. And it was right before football season started, and they really wanted to kind of like just push branding, right? And we did a collab, and they were totally on board. And these images of these athletes, the raw emotion that was coming from their face, and it wasn't just football, it was volleyball, it was basketball. We touched all the different sports, men and women, to just highlight that. And every time I drove by it, and I'm not even a UW alum, mind you, it just made me so happy because we just did it right. Nice. Not a lot of words, a lot of image.
I love that. I don't know how you pick one, Gail.
Yeah,
let's hear it.
One's a tough one. I'm going to name off a few. I'm just going to rattle off a few here and a little backstory on it. I love working with Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' is a wonderful client to work with. They're collaborative, and the fact that they're a national brand and we still provide terrific creative for them is a lot of fun to work on national brands like that. Atrium Health, they've been a long-term client of ours. They do their outdoor really well, and they do it in a really big way. I'm going to talk about 3 campaigns. One is Cookout. Cookout is a North Carolina-based company. They have probably thousands of billboards all over the place, hundreds with us certainly. And I did a campaign with them over the last couple of years on I-95 to help them build their brand, right? They're a regional company. So their whole idea is like, we're going to own the I-95 corridor. Anybody from the Northeast coming to the South that's going to be vacationing or moving to the South, we want them to know who Cookout is. They have that kind of presence in, Charlotte, right around. You'll see them everywhere. But to have just really cute creative that plays into the fact that people are vacationing and they should go to Cookout. They got Shaky, the mascot of Cookout, with a set of golf clubs and beach balls and things like that. So that's fun. The one I think that I would say that I always paused whenever I saw these billboards was the God campaign. And that was a campaign that the whole industry decided to embrace. And they were really messages from God about really very simple, meet me at my house on Sunday before the big game, that kind of messaging. Love thy neighbor. I meant that, and they were all signed by God. And I love that because I think that it was unexpected. I think that it makes people pause. I mean, we do a lot of reflection when we're driving anyway. We sort of plan our lives, and I think that was a really nice, intrusive time to be able to bring those messages and make sort of the world a better place as people thought about their own spirituality. Probably the cutest campaign I ever worked on was the Gore Bush billboard campaign, where it was a picture of George Bush. It said Gore 2000 on it. It was a teaser campaign. We put it on 485 at 77. That billboard went up, and within literally 30 minutes, the television stations and radio stations were calling us saying, what have you done? What is going on here? Y'all have a huge mistake. And I thought, it's just like, we call it the billboard heard around the world, because by the end of the day, publications throughout the world were literally calling us saying what's going on. It was actually a teaser campaign, and this campaign was done by our good friends at Boone Oakley.
Yeah.
And
we love them.
They're terrific. And it was it was back during the .com when, it was like, really the internet was sort of new, right? It was directing people to go to Charlotte123.com for a proofreader. So it was a play on a job opportunity by saying, somebody screwed this up, we need a proofreader, go online and do that. But that billboard, we were in the Wall Street Journal. It was one billboard on 485. That was powerful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really fun campaign. And I guess the last thing I would say is, every year when we get involved in Art Pop, we have been supporting Art Pop for, I think 12 years or so. We put up 20 billboards for local artists every year. To see the profound impact that it has on these artists' lives. I mean, they go from it being, a hobby to being a career and a vocation, and it has absolutely catapulted people's careers through the exposure that they've gotten through outdoor. Plus, for some people, it's the only art they ever are exposed to. And so we use our billboard space as sort of that outdoor art gallery for the good of the community. And absolutely for the greatness of those artists that are putting themselves out there that we're focusing on.
Well, I would take that one even a step further. As creative as your industry and your market is, then you take those billboards for art pop and you turn them into dresses and you turn them into an amazing fashion show.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have ever thought the first time that you guys did that, you walking around in that billboard was going to be just stunning.
Yeah. Who knew billboards could look so beautiful and be so fashionable?
And be a long evening gown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was the Outdoor is In fashion show we did in 2016.
Yes.
Wendy Hickey, a good friend of ours and an old Adams employee, is the founder of Art Pop, and she took that and turned that into her fundraiser. So every year, those billboards that you see on the streets, next year will become fashion, and she'll do a fashion show wrapped around it, and has for the last several years. And I was fortunate enough to model vinyl billboard dresses a few times, and most recently in 2024. So yeah, it's fun.
So fun.
Cool.
So I'm going to turn the tables on you for just a minute because I don't think I've ever asked you that question or the question I'm about to ask you. So if you could put anything on a billboard for a day, what would it be or what would it say?
You know what I think I would do with it? I would put a picture of my dog, Bentley, and I would turn it into a fundraising moment for the Humane Society.
Love it.
Because when she turned 1, we did a campaign. We named it Bentley's Buddies. And we found a need that they had, and we were able to raise money for a kidney dialysis machine that was needed. And then she just turned 10 this past May. We did another campaign for dental needs that they had. And so I think I would do that because she's the cutest dog to ever walk planet Earth. And if we just put her on a big, giant billboard, she's going to bring, hopefully, a lot of money.
Might go viral.
Yeah. So we might just have to do this, Gail. Now that you've talked it into the world, we might have to do this.
Yeah, I love that.
Bentley's Buddies on 485 coming near you.
That's great. See, that's the beauty of outdoors. On the fly, you can create a great campaign just with some thought, right? And then you have, the ability to put it down and execute on it.
All right. We might have to do it now. This was fun, ladies. Thank you.
Jen,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll
Really
see you
terrific.
soon. Bye.
Thank you.